to take like Tehillim or Psalms, the book of Proverbs, Mishle, and just read one page every day, maybe half in the morning and half in the evening, or whatever you can get with. And it's life-changing, and I'll explain why. Because all the other Torah books and rabbis are highly respected because they help us to understand everything. But it's as Rabbi so-and-so said. The Tanakh says, Hashem said, direct from the Eibishter's mouth, through the Nevi'im, and many different ways that he used. So now that I finished that, the subject of what I wanted to share today is the cup half empty or half full? And who can tell me what that means?
Well, it's attitude, one thing. It depends on attitude. You can look at it as, one way, look at another. One negative, one positive.
Exactly. The point is that so many people in this world, religious or not, what they end up doing is that they worry, they assume the worst that could happen, this and that, and that's using the emunah or the bitachon for the wrong purpose and reason. And today I found an excerpt from a book called The Garden of Graditude, also by Rabbi Shalom Arush. The rabbi is phenomenal in book writing, and he's world renowned. As a matter of fact, his book called The Garden of Emunah has been sold in and written in every language that exists in this world, and bestseller in every language, and a phenomenal thing. Highly recommended the book called The Garden of Emunah by Rabbi Shalom Arush. But anyway, we're going to go now to The Garden of Graditude, which is another book. And the subject starts out with, don't worry. What is worry? Worry is the opposite of faith. If faith in bitachon and emunah is believing in good things, then worry is the opposite, because it's believing that, I hope a bad thing doesn't happen, but not realizing that they're thinking about the bad thing, not the good. Think good and it will be good, no? So, here it says, and I'm going to read you a little section, don't worry. If you haven't sufficiently expressed your gratitude to Hashem until now, Rabbi Nachman teaches that anyone can declare a new beginning. So, from this day forward, start thanking Hashem for everything. Get used to looking at how everything is for the good. Not only will it spare you from untold grief, but it will help you express gratitude and praise to Hashem for everything in your life. Now, I'm going to stop for a second because the word praise, it says all the way through the Tanakh, especially Tehillim, to praise Hashem. I have come across the fact that most people don't know what that means. Every time you sing a song, every time you dance a dance, every time you feel joyous, Bezrat Hashem, it's on to the Eibishter, then you are praising Hashem. Playing musical instruments, singing and dancing is praising Hashem if it is unto Hashem. That's why in the Jewish world, especially in Orthodoxy, you will find mega amounts of Jewish music that, for example, Benny Friedman does a song called Todah. And the whole song is about thanking Hashem for everything. I highly recommend it. Anybody who has YouTube can find him and find the song. It's definitely uplifting and lively, and the words are phenomenal. Anyway, to get back to the point. Gratitude mitigates harsh judgment. This is what's written in this book by Rabbi Shalom Arush. Gratitude mitigates mitigates harsh judgment and invokes salvation. I've compiled some practical guidelines to help you incorporate gratitude in a personal prayer invoking divine compassion. So he says for about 30 minutes a day, the first half of your next personal prayer session should be forget momentarily about any and all troubles in your life and only thank Hashem for the good things in your life. You're probably raising your eyebrow by now. Why should we forget our troubles if the whole purpose of a personal prayer session is to invoke divine deliverance? Aren't we better advised to beg Hashem to redeem us from all these tribulations? If we begin our personal prayer session with pain and anguish, we're liable to fall into the mode of self-pity, replete with unnecessary tears. The problem is, or the challenge is, our whining, chas v'shalom, will only bring more trouble. The whining will, rather than salvation. We must always keep in mind the unwanted crying results in the most difficult of tribulations because of ungratefulness. Any comments or questions or anything good? Okay, so we'll go.
You have to have gratitude every day. Every day you have to gratitude.
Not
Every day. Every second. Every second.
Not only do you have to, but you should know that gratitude produces joy. And it says in the Torah that the joy of Hashem is my strength. Therefore, when you can start producing gratefulness in your heart and your mind, you know what there is to be grateful for? You could start with, I have food to eat, a roof over my head, clothes to wear, that alone, and health is, in today's world, health is a super gratitude. And that alone should start the ball rolling for the gratitude, you know? And those are the simple things. Yeah?
But I just wanted to mention that we had an interesting Shabbos. So Erev Shabbos, there was our neighbors across the street. Their daughter had a baby boy. They had a Shalom Zachar.
Oh, wow.
Mazel tov. Anyway, there was. It turned out there was the night before the baby was born, Thursday night. The grandfather gave a siyum for his mother, for the first yortzeit, and his grandkids were there, but and the father of the new baby was there. But then that night, our next door neighbor's daughter went into labor. The point is that so there's a baby born on the block, a new baby boy in the world, and then to this family, and then at 4:00 in the afternoon, I'm texting my daughter to wish her a good Shabbos in Philadelphia, and there's a knock on the door, and then all of a sudden the door opens. I said, "Oh, it's my wife coming back from the market or coming back from maybe to give some food for Mrs. Barron. During Erev Shabbos, she makes some food for her for Shabbos." And all of a sudden my daughter walks in from Philadelphia. She surprised us this weekend,
Oh, wow.
So I'm thinking about to myself last night, on Shabbos night, I got to think to myself, look at the wonderful brachas, the huge blessings that Hashem provides for us, like you were saying, we look at ourselves, we have this, loving family, the children that are doing, thank God, well, and the neighbors that are having simchas, and it makes a very good feeling that all of a sudden, you get to see something good in the world, and you put yourself into that framework of, Hashem is providing so many brachas that how can I think other than think anything else to do other than to be Hakaras Hatov, for the wonderful brachas and the wonderful things going on.
Exactly. There's always what to notice for an uplifting. But there's also... Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. I want to go back to your glass half filled, half empty.
Okay.
Because
Rabbi Ephraim just spoke magnificently about an obvious bracha.
Uh-huh.
He's getting ready to text his daughter and she walks in the door.
Right?
That's a glass half empty approach.
There you go.
All of the tzaras that we have are also brachas.
In disguise, right?
They're not in disguise if you keep your eyes open. Gamzul Torah.
Right? No, for sure.
It's all for good.
But I'm going to...
So if we have to, if there's a tzaras in our life, Hashem is sending a message, you're not doing my job right. You're
Oy,
not doing your job right.
oy vey.
Get back on track.
So give me 2 seconds because I want to finish this up.
That's the glass half full perspective. It really is all for the good.
Amen. And therefore, our cup is always half full, never half empty.
If we start out to feel it's like Vecchi to Hashem, fix this, fix that. If he was there talking to us, he'd say, fix it yourself. Change what you're doing.
There you go. The point is that the cup is never half empty. It's always half full. The whole thing is if we can see it. And so it all boils down to what I'm always teaching about discernment. What is discernment? To take everything that goes into the battlefield of the mind and choose the good and reject the evil. In fact, the next little section I was going to read to you from the book talks about it, the Yetzer Hara. What happens is the Yetzer Hara puts in thoughts and many times says, this is your own thoughts. So people think they're just thinking. They don't realize that the Yetzer Hara is putting those thoughts in there. And therefore they lean to the cup half empty. I'm going to read this real quick because my time is almost up. And I want to be able to get this in. The evil inclination blinds a person, however, by showing him an inflated view of life's current difficulties. The black spot, or by underplaying or concealing all of life's many good points. The ungrateful individual falls prey to the evil inclination's ploy, becoming totally disgruntled when anything in life goes awry. A person's lack of gratitude enables this black spot to distort his perception, masking the endless beauty and good in his life. So practically speaking, the person himself intensifies his own suffering by not throwing out those wrong thoughts and solely focusing on the black spot. He's thinking about, oh, woe is me. Got to get rid of the woe. Because the fact that you were born Jewish is enough to always be dancing in delight. Because we are the top of creation, Baruch Hashem. We are a light to the nations. We are what Hashem created in the spiritual realm in this world. And we need to be a healing and beneficial presence to the entire creation. So in order for us to do that, we have to be in the right place ourselves. So by learning the Tanakh, we learn that it says Hashem said. So we learn what makes him angry, what makes him happy. We learn where commandments came from, why they came. All kinds of stuff comes from the Tanakh that you don't get in a regular class. And if you ask the Avester, many times when I started studying, I had nobody around me to help. I just said, Avester, please, can you give me understanding on this particular pasuk or whatever? And sometimes he answered the same day, the same hour, but sometimes it took a month or 2 months or whatever. But I always got an answer. And many times he answered me by I'd open a page and there was the answer on that page. So, and the Rebbe said that you could open up a book randomly and the page is going to talk to you for where you are and where your life is in this moment. And a good example of that, and I'm going to close with this because unless there's any comments or questions, quick, is that I was in a hospital in Puerto Rico many years ago, and so my son had my cell phone, and a friend from New York called, and I was on a vacation to Puerto Rico at that time, and I ended up in the hospital for a minute, and that's one of the, I think, 1 or 2 times in my whole life I ever went to one. And when they called, my son said, "No, my mother's in the other room, not conscious." And so the lady said, "Don't do anything. Wait. We're gonna call the 770." Okay. So she called 770, and there was a Israeli lady that always is there named Sharit. And she went and she looked in the Igros Kodesh, and the Igros Kodesh told her that I'm going to be fine. So she calls back Puerto Rico, and Puerto Rico said, "No, my mother just passed away, Chas v'shalom." And the lady said, "No, the Rebbe said she's going to be fine." And 2 seconds later, the lady came out of the emergency room and said, No, she passed away, but she just woke up again." So, and from that, and when I woke up, there was no symptoms anymore. Everything was gone, and I was fine. So, and this is a true story. I lived it. Huh? Amen, Baruch Hashem. And that was like 15 or so years ago. It was a long time ago. And so you should know that Ein od milvado, all is good. You know? So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming in and attending. Is there any more comments or questions?
Can you possibly find the previous section that you were reading, not the last section, but the previous section on gratitude? The last 2 sentences, I couldn't hear a couple of the words.
Let's see if I can find.
Locate where that was?
Let's see if I... Okay, there was a section that said, "Gratitude mitigates harsh judgment and invokes salvation. I've compiled some practical guidelines to help you incorporate gratitude in your personal prayer, invoking divine compassion. For about 30 minutes, forget momentarily about your troubles and only thank Hashem for the good things in your life." Is that where, or it's over here?
Yes, I think so. What about 30 minutes? What do you do for 30 minutes?
For about 30 minutes, set aside any and all worries in the life, anything negative, and just think about everything you have to be grateful for, and praise and thank Hashem to be grateful for it. Also, there are songs. In these days, you can find a lot of Jewish music on YouTube. If you start listening to a little bit of the Jewish music that praises Hashem, you know by the words, you'll be very surprised how all of a sudden you'll have this joyous attitude when you finish listening. It could be only 2-3 minute song, and it makes all the difference in the world. And if you get to learn the song and sing it too, so you're praising Hashem. And that is the fastest and easiest way to obtain joy.
There's some beautiful ones with these boys' choirs, the Swedish boys singing, praising Hashem. I don't even know what the words, it's all in Hebrew, but they're praising Hashem. They keep mentioning Hashem.
For sure. Yeah, I know. All right, we got to go because we have a next appointment, but my phone number is available to anybody who would like it. You can call me anytime. We can talk anytime, except Shabbos, of course. And I wish you all perfect health, le'olam va'ed, forever, you and your families. I wish you hatzlacha bracha, oh mine, and besimcha, only goodness. So we'll see you next time. Hold on. You're welcome. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Thank you all for participating so wonderfully and really, really wonderfully. Mitzvah Shem, we have a Gemara class 6:30 tomorrow for ladies and gentlemen.